What's going on, people? What's going on? All praises be to the Most High. You know that's first and foremost. I don't just say that, I live that. All praises be to the Most High at your highest and your lowest. Remember that. But yeah, man. Thank y'all for supporting. I want to get this established once again. I know I've said this before, but I don't do this to be no YouTuber. I know the quality of my cameras ain't always the best. Um, I do try to, I ain't gonna say I don't try, but I try, I try to make it a little, better than what it used to be, that you can see me clearly, you can hear me clearly. And, I will be putting some money, behind the quality of what I do, but I'm not really like your average guy who's trying to get 100,000 subscribers, and shouts out to people that try to do that. But my whole intention or motive is more so getting the Most High's word out there, So if you can go through all my videos, that's always been my foundation. Being a mouthpiece for the word in the way that I can, or register or recollect to people. Um, I'm just a piece. I'm just a piece, man. I'm just a piece doing my part. I think we all have our talents and gifts, and I'm just trying to play my part and make sure my election is sure. From my testimony and my side of things, as you know, this pilgrims in the earth. Y'all see me come and go. These last few years been up and down. It's been a roller coaster, especially the last few years being abroad. I've been traveling. I've been traveling abroad for the last 5 years, but I've been consistently abroad for the last couple years. So it's been a roller coaster ride. But I can't say within this last year it's been a kind of a steady. It taught me a lot. As you know, I've always been transparent and honest with y'all. In the past, I had an alcohol problem where I allowed myself to get back, stumble back into alcoholism. Um, that was a big thing for me. Because once I left America and went to Africa for the second time, that was kind of like my, I'm not going back kind of thing. So once I had to actually go back to America, that was very depressing. So it kind of led me to, trying to escape my circumstances, might I say. I'm not perfect. I fall into my own temptations too. Alcoholism has always been one of those things since I was a teenager. But yeah, so yeah, going back to America, having to get a regular 9 to 5, I ain't, I'm not one that's against work. I've been working all my life, but it's a certain like energy that comes with working in America, especially nowadays, like I did the video people crashing out. It's a certain energy of the people, like it's a negative, it's a heaviness of man. But yeah, I had to deal with that, man. It was very discouraging, and when it comes to provide for my family, I'm gonna step up for the cause every time. I work from home now. You always, if you don't work, you don't eat. But as far as in that environment, it was very stressful at that time. But yeah, man, it's been a long journey. So yeah, man, I was fighting those demons. Left and came back to the continent, and kind of was still juggling, trying to get myself right, trying to stay, above water, but at the same time battling with that on and off. You get what I'm saying? I would quit it here, 3 months here, start back to it, But yeah, I finally found myself like kind of doing things that I said I wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like being out in the streets, hanging out, making myself put myself in vulnerable situations, drinking heavy. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High really had to sit me down a couple times, man. I had dealt with a foot injury, man. Foot industry, foot injury. To the point where I couldn't even get up and walk for like 2 weeks. I couldn't even get to the bathroom. You know, my wife, she had to literally, the very person that was telling me like, sit down, sit down. We need you here. Why are you going out? But I'm, going to the bar trying to get a drink. Um, when I made it back to the continent, still, battling with that whole spirit. Supposed to be home, but I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Doing what I'm doing. So the Most High really set me down, and the very person who, was telling me like, hey, we need you here. We need you as our head. She basically was helping me get around. Helping me get to the bathroom to pee. So um, that's my wife has been a cornerstone for me. Helping me out. Because that's something that we battle with to get together. You get what I'm saying? So anytime you as a husband, you got a boulder on you, you got the weight of the world on your shoulder, your family feel that also. So and also, man, we had a whole kind of, we had friends and people that we came over here with who we was vibing with, we was doing the whole thing with. And a lot of the relationships that I had, I don't surround myself with those circles no more. And it's no diss to them. Shout out to them. I've always said shout out to them. But that was a big part of, my sickness. You know what I'm saying? Because, once you stop doing something, or once you pull back and you stop partaking in certain things, I think it's kind of overwhelming to people, especially if they're not trying to go in that same direction. So once I realized, like, man, I gotta, y'all seen the videos, protect your household. I mean, I'm about to expose myself. That was me repenting. You know what I'm saying? That was me. That was therapeutic for me. That was me repenting right before y'all. So in the midst of that, that's gonna rub some demons the wrong way. You know, I just got to be honest. That's gonna rub demons the wrong way. Um, I had to literally shut everything off. I'm talking about people, places, environments. I had to do that for a while, for the Most High to show things clearly. So throughout the months, of course, it's been a whole year now. Been a whole year. I ain't had an alcoholic beverage, and I can see clearly. I can perceive things clearly. But even in my alcoholism, when I was battling with that, I still had a good heart. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times, my genuineness and my good heartedness comes across as probably naive sometimes. And it's a cold world out here. And when I'm not sober minded, I'm vulnerable to those spirits. Everybody is. So yeah, battling with that, man, and the people that I was laboring with, um, it was a lot of offenses that was starting to occur. You know, a lot of offenses starting to occur, and I'm the type person I like to get to the bottom or the root of the issue. But if we can't do that, if we can't scratch the surface on what's the problem, you know, because I was doing a lot of fasting and praying, for the Most High to reveal things to me. So if we can't get to the root of the issue, I just go my own way. Because I'm not one of them people. Of course, I was a part of that big organization. I don't want to talk about it. I talked about it too much, but yeah, shouts out to them too. But yeah, man, I'm not one of them people that's gonna keep sit around and mope like, dang, those my people. I love you. I can love you from a distance. I can love you from a distance. When I see you, it ain't no hate. But hey, I'm going this way. You going that way. Maybe we can cross paths along the way. But if we can't get certain things in order, or we can't get past something, and I ask you, hey, is it hey, peace, man, peace. So I'm not making this video specifically about that, but I'm kind of taking y'all along on a journey of this whole year because I've been sober for a whole year, man, and I'm proud of myself because I know I'm not going back. I'm not the type person that can go back to drinking again, or I'm gonna go back to wine coolers, or I'm gonna go back because I'm gonna tell you, my son Karan is 9. He's about to be 9 years old in 2 weeks. I haven't been a year sober from alcohol since he was probably 1 years old, and that's crazy. That's 8 years. Now I'm not saying I was out here just what I'm saying, throwing shots and doing all that, going crazy. But it was like an off and on, but it was a battle. You know what I'm saying? There was times where I would, casually drink and it wasn't crazy. But it would be on and off. Uh I had to really sit back and deal with myself, man. I had to sit back and think about the losses as far as I done lost family, you know what I'm saying, that had passed away. I never dealt with those emotions because I was always, I done dealt with uh, kind of having me and my mom having a stringy relationship, my mom came to visit me and, bless her heart. My mom has been another cornerstone in my heart that's been very supportive, but our relationship was, with us losing family and all the things going on, we had to really sit down and talk about some things and heal, and get some understanding about things. So, um, hey man, it's like my sinuses, the weather changing here. But anyway, uh, yeah, man, it took a lot. It wasn't just not drinking. It was because when you not drinking, your life begins to change. You start to see things clearer. Your senses is different. You see different. You smell different. You hear different. So, um, a lot of things started becoming more clear to me. You know what I'm saying? I started to realize, stop living up here so much and come down here and be more humble. So I had to deal with the reality of my life, man. And dealing with this channel, man, I ain't never been so as far as consistent with the channel, being transparent, being honest with y'all. I've been putting out so much so many videos, keeping it 100 with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So whoever listening, you know, hey, I appreciate it. But yeah, man, that's hurtful to see people, that you have to leave people behind in your life. You know what I'm saying? I done had to do that my whole life. Um, but I've always kept people around that I knew deep down inside they didn't have my best interest. But the love for that person or um not being sober minded made me vulnerable to a lot of people. Um so I wasn't ignorant of the threat or it could have been envy, it could have been unforgiveness, it could have been offenses in a lot of people that they have for me. But my love for them um kept me around in those circles. But I thank the Most High um, for the understanding, to see things in totality, of why things happen the way it did. Because a lot of people can beat themselves up for, old friendships they used to have or the old life they used to live. Me, my whole, I got a whole work within my own household within itself. I'm a father of 5 boys. you know, I got a family of 6 people. So I can't I can't just, take off for a minute. Like, oh, no, it's an everyday thing for me. I gotta keep going. I'm a teacher, I'm a father, I'm all these things in one. So my family depend on me. So uh but yeah, man, it's very humbling because, my father, he dealt with a lot of substance abuse. You know what I'm saying? My father was a very wise man, very wise, very loving, very caring. Uh, and he wasn't a bum. You know what I'm saying? My father was being an electrician and You know, he was in the Navy, all these different things, man. My father, and I unfortunately lost my father at a young age. So all them good things that my father had in him that he could have instilled in me, you know, um, I missed out on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not blaming him, but I'm saying that I take a hold of that. I take that into consideration when I'm living my life, when these shortcomings come in my life, because I can see, you know, if something happens to me, I know the effect that it will have on my children. You know, so and my father and what he did instill in me, you know, I think I he passed away when I was probably 10 years old due to his shortcomings. Um, I think what he did instill in me, you know, it benefited me to this day. You know, a masculine man, you know, gonna work hard for his family. Uh, but I also seen those shortcomings personally, you know. So I always look at that as a testimony, you know, not to give up. You get what I'm saying? So bless his heart, man. I hope he resting, you know, resting in a in the Most High's hands. But yeah, man, alcohol is a serious thing. I don't take that lightly. When I say I feel like I dodged the bullet, um, the Most High been holding me up, like trying to, you know, showing me dreams, showing me messages, you know, because alcohol don't just come with quitting alcohol. Don't just come with not drinking. It comes with letting, like I say, letting people go who's influencing that type of activity, letting those environments go that influence that type of activity. Man, I would be so uh, vulnerable to alcohol. I would get around certain places and I feel myself twitching. I'm like, man, this is the demon. And then when I found myself drinking and not even eating. You know, I was so skinny, man. I know I gained a lot of weight because my wife was pregnant, but if I show you a picture, you'd be like, wow, I look like a whole nother person. Um, yeah, I was real skinny, man. I wasn't eating. I was just drinking. I was just drinking. And it's like, man, when I think about that, like, man, I'm out drinking and my children were dependent on me. And I'm not saying that I wasn't there as far as, you know, protecting and providing for them, but just putting that poison in my body, um, it's horrible, man. My kids, they need me, bro. They need me, and if you're a father, you can relate to that. Um, and I pray for anybody that's going through that. That's a horrible spirit. And you know, um, when you in those environments, you know, everybody having fun, everybody drinking, because that stuff happened in the truth too. You know, people like, oh, I thought you was in the truth, man. Come on, stop it. We're real people. You know, we go through real things. We go through real issues, and alcohol is one of the biggest things. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you got alcohol, other things factor into that. You know, lust factor into that. You know what I'm saying? Offenses started to come. You know, money issues, all those things. So when I completely cut that stuff off, my finances got better. My relationship with my wife got better. You know what I'm saying? The way you know, the Most High communicating with me got better. I can hear him more clear. So anybody that is offended or took my change any kind of way, hey man, I don't know how you can see that as a problem. But yeah, man, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I would put anybody out my life that can't, you know, because you have people that will be entertained by your downfall. You have friends in your life, and this is generally speaking, inspired by my life though. But you have friends in your life, you have family in your life that's entertained by your downfall. They see you doing the wrong things, they see you going the wrong path, they see you knocking on heaven's doors, and they're not gonna say nothing to you. They're not gonna pull you to the side like, "Hey, bro, maybe you shouldn't, maybe you shouldn't be drinking all that lean, or maybe you shouldn't be drinking all that alcohol, or maybe you shouldn't be popping all them perks. You know, you got kids that you need to be, attending to, or you got a wife and family at home that you need to be attending to, or maybe you need to think about your health, man. We getting older now, so you have to keep people in your circle. You have to be very wary about who's in your circle nowadays, man. But for sure, we in the last days, you have to be very focused on who in your circle. But yeah, man, I feel good. I feel good. I feel like right now I'm battling with other things. I've been, detoxing, fasting. I'm trying to really, to be honest with you, I'm really trying to get rid of these bad eating habits. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of on like a eating once a day regimen. I'm trying to get back into a fruit fast. I haven't been so successful with the 7 day fruit fast. I know I did a 3 day before, but my whole goal is to do a legit 7 day and after that a 30-day fruit fast. Speaking into existence. But yeah, man, I want to not just for physically, but spiritually, mentally. I think that's gonna take me to that next level because I'm always trying to hear the Most High's voice and be directed by the Spirit. So I think that's and when you look in the Bible, all the prophets, all the disciples, Christ Himself, Moses himself, they were fasting. They were fasting heavy, and definitely in these times, it's much needed. So yeah, man, um, I've I think I've built so many circles. Um, Based off of my dysfunctions, like drinking. When you, let's say, when you, like, for example, when you're a weed smoker, right? When you smoke marijuana, you have a lot of friends that's just associated with that. So when you stop doing that, you don't have like a common interest with those people no more. So it's like, dang, what we was even cool for? You get to being in those circles trying to, you know, um, just be around, and you like, man, this ain't what I want. But that's why I say that to say, drinking. I was just around certain people, like, and it's like the distraction of being drunken, man, is crazy. I'm like, dang, it took me 37 years. I'm about to be 38 in September, man. 38. I've been doing this for. I started drinking when I was like 14 years old, man. To keep it 100, which started off with E&J, man. E&J. VSOP, E&J. Horrible drink, horrible. I remember the first time I tell you it was horrible, but it's crazy how something so nasty you can keep drinking it. It was that feeling of not caring. And that has to be a demon. Like you have so much to live for, but this drink or this drink it makes you careless. And I think a lot of times that's what people are kind of running to. I don't want to have to worry about my children or my circumstances or my financial shortcomings and this world. With me it was all those things, man. Like the world, like you got to understand, like everything I'm talking about on my YouTube, man, I've been talking about that for. I was just talking to my wife about this, like, man, I've been talking about the vaxes and the depopulation. Man, I've been talking about that for over 12 years, bro. So sometimes the weight of the world is kind of on your shoulder when you see the reality of what it is, and you're not kind of blinded by the delusion of, you know, life is gonna be this, but you kind of see what it really is. It's a very stressful thing. So alcohol was it don't seem too far off to see that Lot got towed up, after he seen Sodom get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Or was it Enoch? Not Enoch, or Noah, get pissy drunk after seeing the flood. You know what I'm saying? So but you can't stand that. You can't stand that. And I had a dream I told y'all before, I had a dream, man. I seen my family, you know, without me. You know what I'm saying? I seen how that affected my children. So for me to be alive and well right now is a blessing because I would never let a demon overcome me, man, when I got so much to live and fight for. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you love me, you want the best for me. You know, just like I want the best for everybody else. But I'm gonna keep growing, bro. I'm gonna keep growing, most I willing. Um, just because I overcame that, that ain't the, that ain't the end all. It's so much more. Um, I got a whole tribe over here. You know, like I say, I'm a teacher. I'm teaching them. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to shape and mold my children. You know how the Most High would want it. You get what I'm saying? Not how the world would want it, but how the Most High would want it. So yeah, it's a lot going on over here. Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate the support and everything, man. It's been a journey, and we gonna keep pushing. You know, we gonna keep putting out content. You know, I just put out that people crashing out. I'm already I already got everything for part 3, man. I'm already, then I gotta get back to all the No One Man Should Have all that power series. You know, gotta get back to the Africa waking up, all that. Man, I ain't forgot about none of that stuff, man. All it's all in the making. But I got a lot going on. I be hitting the gym. I've been hooping lately, trying to get my skills back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we gonna keep working. We gonna keep working. But yeah, man, it's just a little short little testimony. It's been 1 year, no drinking. I'm gonna keep going. Pray for me. I'm gonna pray for y'all. Peace.